Am I looking at the right thing? Are we even on? Today's September 6th, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. And do I have my sound off? I do have my sound off. Okay. We got nobody here tonight. They're like, we saw the quilt done. We don't need to watch anymore. It's probably what happened, right? No.
Yeah. What? Oh, sorry.
Anyway, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Sewing with Brent and Eddie, or Four Pines Quilting. I don't know. We should come up with a name for this someday, for branding purposes. But as you can see behind me, we have completed the quilt in question. I didn't get a binding on it yet, though, but I figured it was good enough. We got it quilted. We went with a cuddle back, a nice yellow cuddle. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But what I do want to talk about today, some shop news, is this book has been in the shop now for since June or July? So a few months. And everybody's like, I like that. It looks at the book and thinks it has some nice patterns in it, but everybody's like, well, I want that fabric. Well, the fabric finally came in for the book because this is a Moda thing, and Moda's always like way behind on when, thinking ahead of themselves. Pattern came out, and now we have the fabric. So let me show you the fabric we got going on. The big nice thing about it is you got some nice coordinates, like this yellow. It's going to go nice with a lot of. It's a very summery collection, so it's kind of late in the year, I think. But, it's a good fall pick-me-up. Blue. Those are kind of your two coordinates, nice tone-on tones. This green is really pretty. I don't know if it's coming through the colors on the camera, but it's a real kind of a nice springtime green. Here's another one. Just got that nice little heart motif going in there, almost like a paisley look to it. Really nice prints. You don't need to use the patterns. I mean, you can probably incorporate this into a lot of other stuff. This, I don't imagine, will be long here in the shop. This is one of those fabrics that people are going to see and buy at yards at a time. The big, this is going to be one of your main focal pieces. It's still kind of a tone-on-tone, but you've got a nice large floral print, which is really nice. And then you've also got, I'm waiting for the one everybody wants to see. And this is the other one. This is also nice, kind of a tone-on-tone green. But I can't remember I don't remember which of the patterns we bought the fabric for, but I know that we have enough fabric to kit one of these. And I'm trying to remember which one. But the other piece that is really nice, that really kind of works, is this. This is actually kind of a panel. I don't know if it's I think we're going to sell it as a panel. But it's just... So what's going to happen is you're going to end up cutting these squares out. And that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and if I am, you can all get mad at me later. Is it this one? Or there's two of them. There's a few quilts in here, and I think it's this one. I believe this is the one we ordered everything for. Can you focus in on that? I think this is what we're going to be doing kits of. I honestly can't remember. I'm going to have to look at the fabrics we got in and figure out which one we were doing. But I think it's this one because I know that the one that we're doing did use the panel. But we'll have kits. We're going to actually kit it up, the book and the fabric, and make kits up with this because it's going to be really pretty when it's done up. The finish size on that, I believe, is going to be like 57 by 60 by 70, give or take, somewhere in that area. So that's pretty much all we have for shop news. Is that came in. I don't know if we got it online yet. I didn't even double check that before I started getting all excited about it. But it'll be, if it's not online yet, it'll be online tomorrow at this point, and you can order some up if you want it. We'll probably have some kits made up by then too, so when you go online, you'll be able to order the kits if you want, or swing in the shop. So that's all we got for exciting shop news. The shop hop started. We had some hardcore people in here the first day of buying up their fabric. And so, do we have the shop? Can you get me you're sitting there taking pictures. What's that?
The magazine?
No, the brochure that tells our sales.
Oh, yeah.
What were you doing over there? Photographing your hand?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting over here watching Eddie, and he's got his phone out, and he's doing this with it. With a really weird, bewildered look on his face. And I don't know why. I think he said something about a callus. So, were you like picking at your callus? That's kind of gross. It looks like you actually work for a living.
Deadlift.
Deadlift. Anyway, so we have a bunch of stuff on sale for the shop hop. I don't know if we have it set up online to sell it on sale or not.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So you got to come
It
in.
makes sense because it's a shop hop.
It's a shop hop, so you got to come into the shop. So I'm just going to tell you what we got going on for sales to get you all excited to get out here. We have 20% off all Kimberbell designs for the duration of the shop hop on in-stock items. That's your CDs, your embellishments, fabric kits, blanks, etc. Not the Kimberbell fabric line, just the kits for stuff. Anything that's not on a bolt that's Kimberbell is 20% off. And that's while supplies last. We're not going to order stuff at 20% off for you. So it's kind of like what's in stock on that one. We're also doing a buy one, get one of equal or lesser value. It's a really nice brochure. Danny did an awesome job. The Elegons, the 8-weight hand thread, we're doing that. The Fruity 12-weight thread, and the Invisible 100-weight, the Invisifil 100-weight thread. We're doing buy one, get one on that. Again, duration of the shop hop, no rain checks, all that fine print. We also have buy one, get half off, or you buy two, get one free. Right? What sounds better? Buy one, get half off, or buy two, get one free?
I think people like free.
Free?
Sounds.
Free sounds better?
I mean, it's the same amount of dealage.
It's the same deal, but in one instance you've got to buy 3 things, in the other you'll have to buy 2.
Yeah.
So we're going to market it as buy one, get one half off, so you only have to buy 2 if you want, but it's really buy 2, get 1 free. Buy one, get the second one half off, or buy 2 and get 1 free. That is on all the Tabletopper of the months, and the Riley Blake Tabletopper kits, and the Bench Pillow kits. That is a super duper deal. Again, that's only for the duration of the shop hop. While supplies last, all that good stuff. The other one is, we did do buy 2, get 1 free. That's on the panels. I know we talked about it somewhere. We have a ton of panels, and we have a lot of panels, and we thought it would be great for the shop hop. So it's going to be 2 panels. If you buy 2 panels, you get the third one for free. Right?
Yeah.
And then, by Annie's. All by Annie's patterns and hardware is 20% off. We have like an awesome deal going on here. You also could just come in and buy. And I think that's everything, right? Excuse me. Also, 10% off all Amelia Scott designs. So that's the deals we got going. We have a little brochure, so when you come in, just ask somebody for it, and they'll give it to you. They'll be like a lot of the people that came through when we first started were giving everybody their brochure when we gave them the stamp for their thing, and then they were putting this in their bag, and it's like, no, look at it now so you can see what's for sale. So that's the news. So the shop hop started. We got some really good deals going on. Come buy stuff, because with these kind of deals, it's all disappearing quick, and then you won't have as much to choose from. So new fabric. Now let's talk about the shop hop quilt. Do we want to talk about it? Because I've got it here, hanging here behind me.
I think people want to hear about it.
Hear about it? Oh, I've got the dimensions. Should I? Okay, I'm going to type these up a little bit, so if you want to zoom in, so people can see what the design process entails with me. Those are the notes. See, this is why I don't make patterns. Wait, there we go. This is the note of what the fabric requirements are. So I'll type this up and have it a little bit more neat, and maybe make that like a download somewhere, so like a reference for the video. But I'm just going to go over it real quick so you can all get an idea what you need to make this quilt. Because you don't need the shop hop fabric to do this. If you want it to look like this, certainly buy this fabric. But you can make this, because it's so scrappy, really the only thing you need to worry about from the shop hop standpoint would be the panel. But the way that this was constructed, you all watched the process, you could use any panel that you can cut up will give you the same effect. You could get rid of the panel altogether and add extra leaf blocks, or maybe a tree block. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about making this quilt. So but just to I told you I'd give you the dimensions. Like I said, we'll have this printed up in like a download somewhere in a PDF. But the biggest piece of fabric you're going to need is 2 yards. Because I thought you were going to need way more fabric for this until I started writing it out. You need 2 yards of fabric for the outer border, and I also included the leaf with that. So your outer border fabric is going to need 2 yards, and that also gives you that inner 1 leaf out of it, so that it brings that outer border material back into it. The next big piece, and actually, the next big piece is going to be the border print. I don't, if you all remember the border print, we had 1.25 yards of it so that we could strip it vertically. And so you need 1.25 yards of it. You really only use maybe 3/4 of a yard, but you need that 1.25 yards so you can get your strips going horizontal strips. Anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch, was it 3-4 weeks ago now?
That sounds right.
Or if we actually edit this like we say we're going to, it'll be further in the video or behind, I don't know. But that's going to be the other big piece. So 2 yards for your outer border and this leaf here, and then 1.25 yards for that. Everything after that, I believe, if I did my ciphering right, is less than a yard fabric. So the next one is a 3/4 yard. So a 3/4 yard of your second leaf. And that's also the accent that we put on the top and the bottom to kind of make it not square. You'll notice we had to flesh that out a little bit because of how that came together. So that's going to be 3/4 yard of that. Then the other thing is you just need four pieces, 4 half-yard cuts. And those 4 half-yard cuts are going to be for our strip sets here. So, yes?
Oh, that was it.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. So you only need half-yard cuts for these strip sets. And that actually probably gives you a little extra because I believe you only need 2 6.5-inch strips. Did I say 2? 2, maybe 2, but it leaves you some extra. But a half-yard cuts are all you need for the strip sets. Then you need 2 half-yard cuts. Oh, so it's a lot of half-yard cuts. 2 half-yard cuts for your bear paws. Yay for bear paws, right?
Yeah.
And then, oh, what did I do wrong here? You know what I forgot to do?
What?
Oh, no, I didn't. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to figure in the tree. And then you just need 2 half-yard cuts for the tree fabric, and then the background fabric. Half-yard cuts of that will get you your 2 trees and leave you plenty left over. And then an 1/8 yard cut for the tree trunks. And I believe that is everything. That would be everything you need to make this. So, like I said, you could mix it up a little bit, but the biggest piece, like I said, would be the outer border. Requires 2 yards, and then the 1.25 yards for your strips. But everything else is going to be a half yard. Comes out of a half-yard strip, so it's just having a lot of half-yard cuts. So it's a really nice, scrappy quilt. But that's pretty much the quilt, right?
I'd say that's the quilt.
Do we have any questions? I thought that was going to take a lot longer.
Rhonda says it looks nice.
Well, thank you. Well, of course it looks nice. We have the camera far enough back that you can't see it for real.
And Danny asked, what's the finished size?
Finished size is a good question. Comes out right around, I want to say 80 by 90 if I remember right. Because we did use Cuddle on the back. Cuddle's 90 inches. We had a little left over. It fit on Cuddle all right. So if I remember right, it's 80 by 90. 80 by 9, it might be 92. But yeah, it comes out right around 80 by 90. And like I said, you don't need to use the shop hop fabric for this. You can use any fabric. It's really kind of, you saw the process that we did to make it. It's just kind of, you can do what you want with it. If you don't have the exact fabric, you can mix it up. But if you find, the big piece, like I said, would be the panel. And if you really want to capture this, would be that the border print. But you could really do it with any kind of country border stripe as well. Or you could get a few different border stripes and kind of layer. This, wow, you could have all sorts of fun with it. But anyway, I was expecting it to take longer, Eddie. Should I sit here and look at it more? Should we zoom in and I show everybody all the problems with it?
Sure.
I don't know. That would be kind of a fun exercise because you know how people are super critical of their work,
Yeah.
and they know where all the problems are at.
Do you know where all the problems are at, or do you have?
I know that they're there. It wouldn't take me long to find them. What do you think? Do we want to do that?
I'd say we have time.
We have time? Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Because right now it looks great, and you're zoomed out, and I'm going to point some stuff out, and I don't really care. I like my quilt. I don't lose a lot of sleep over this kind of stuff. But this is also good for some beginners. So, let's start by talking about my points. Right? These are actually not bad. Let's start with this one here. I'm actually kind of impressed with myself.
The leaf.
This leaf here. You got this leaf here?
Yeah.
All right. This was not bad, okay? It's not perfect, it's not bad. We'll go to the other leaf after and you'll see what it looks like bad. What you'll notice is my points are actually pretty dang good. And some of you are probably watching this, looking at those points, saying they're not that good, like that one there. We're not quite all the way out. That one there, we're a little short because we cut the point off. But that one right there, look at that. That's almost a perfect point. I mean, 1 out of 4 ain't bad. I'm going to take the win on that one. That one's like almost perfect. So 1 out of 4. So we got a 1 out of 4 on that leaf.
Are you gonna cut it out and hang it up on your wall?
No, when people come and say, well, notice all the problems, I'll point to that. And I'm like, that's a perfect point. 1 out of 4. Let's go over to this leaf here. This one is well, no, we might have, no, we don't really have a winner there. Almost though. You'll notice on this leaf, our points are a lot worse. But it's a leaf, you know? Who has a sharp leaf? But look at this one here's almost perfect though. Do you see that? So 1 out of 4 again on the leaf. We'll take the win. What do you think?
They look good.
They look good. Now let's go over to the tree block. Yeah, do that one. It'll probably easier. The awesome thing about the tree block, oh, I didn't pull this off, is if you're one of those people that worries about your points, you can't screw them up on the tree block. Because at no point on this block do you have to have the points perfect to where they go. Even on the top here, you'll notice we came down a little bit so that we don't have to have perfect points. Now, I can tell you, if you look at this close enough, I don't know if it's coming through on there, but this isn't quite centered right. It's a little lopsided. Do you see that?
I can see a little.
Yeah, a little bit, right? It's off a little bit, but it's a tree. There's never a perfect symmetrical tree. So if you're somebody that worries about points, do a tree block. Do lots of tree blocks because you see, none of these points have to be perfect. The only thing, if you're really off on your center lines, you could be a little wonky like we got going on there, but it's not the end of the world. It's a tree, so that came out nice. The bear paws, bear paws are probably another story. Now keep in mind, one of the things when we were making this, where are we at?
I zoomed out.
Okay.
So you can.
Oh, here's a good example of something that I wanted to talk about. Zoom in. Can you get in here?
Yeah. Oh, where? I think I.
Do you see what I'm talking about right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you remember when we were cutting out the panels, we saved the words from around the edge of the panel? Well, we used those in a couple places to flesh it, to make, so this was, I think, 11 and a half, this block, and I had to add an inch to the bottom to make it be 12 and a half. And so I was like, I'm going to take the words we cut off the panel, sew it back to the panel to get my 12 and a half out of it. Well, look how awesome it came out on this side. I mean, it says New England, but then it goes into like
No, I didn't even notice it.
New England cut. You see how nice? Yeah, see, you didn't even notice it, right? See how nice that side looks? Goes right into that. It's like almost like I meant to do that. That is what I was striving for on this side. But because it's me, look at this side. We're off by a quarter of an inch. And honestly, I'm not really sure how that happened when you stop and think about it. Because this strip is the same on both sides. And technically that should be straight across the bottom, right? But somehow we've ended up with being offset like 1/8 of an inch. I don't know how that happened. My suspicion is this isn't straight across here. And it just kind of made it straight.
Yeah, it does look.
Yeah, because you can kind of see where it's. So that, is not my best, not my finest moment, but you know what? You can't be too critical. So if I wanted to, I could take, when I was putting it together, I probably could have fudged that to make it work, but anybody that's sewn with me long enough knows that I don't care about stuff like that. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. What else did we do that upside down? We did do it upside down, Eddie, didn't we?
What is it?
This strip here, we saved the states on the top. But when I did the camping strip down here, I did the checkerboard. Oh, I should have done the states down there too. Oh, it's probably good that I didn't because then they wouldn't line up. See, there's all sorts of questions, and when you sit here and pick it apart, you can really go crazy with it. But if you zoom into any of the bear paws, you'll notice that most of my bear paws are pretty decent. Except for that one, that one's way off. what you're going to find is we did everything with an easy angle. If you're not a perfectionist, which one are you on? That one.
Up one.
This one?
Yes.
This one? Okay.
That.
Yeah, so if you're not a perfectionist, the easy angle, you're going to get kind of close enough with the points, and if you take your time, you do all right. One of the tricks would have been if we wanted to get these to be perfect. Like, this one's really good, Eddie. Are you looking at that one on the left? That one's really good. We should go to a different one. This one's a good example. Let's go to that one. See this one up here?
Yes.
So what you run into with the easy, what you could do is you see how this one's off a little bit here, and then that one's out. One of the tricks when you're doing half square triangles is to oversize them by 1/2 inch and then cut them down, and then they come out perfect when you sew them together. I am not going to do the extra step of cutting down making a square too big just so I can cut it smaller. We're already cutting up perfectly fine fabric. I don't want to add that extra layer of work. But if I was you could still use an easy angle to make your half square triangles. There's other techniques. But one of the things is I could have done, instead of doing these at 2.5 inches, I could have done them at 3. And then after I create them, trim them down, and I would have gotten better results. Because you can see where this is came up a little bit shy, and that one's a little bit long. But again, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I think it looks fine. And if you look at it from back there with the cameras, you're not going to see it. I'm trying to see if there's any other. I mean, points are really all you got to worry about on this guy, and even those aren't too bad. And there's probably not a straight line in there. Like, if you come back over here, do you want to come over here? That's all right. Come back right here.
Yep.
This is the problem with stripes. Notice how we've got this really nice here, then all of a sudden we lose that 1/4 inch there. Which one is straight? Is this the straight row or is that the straight row? Who knows? I'm not sure it matters.
Yeah.
But the problem you run into, this is just kind of a good good learning moment, is because you've got the visuals of this perfectly straight line here.
I think it's the Vermont.
I think the Vermont is, yeah, because the fact that it's lower over here and higher over here tells me that it's Vermont row is crooked. But this is a good reason, like if you're working with straight, but this is why a lot of people don't like stripes, because if your stripe isn't perfectly lined up, it's really obvious in something like this. And this is a good example of when people want to do stitch in the ditch. I have people all the time come and say, I want to do stitch in the ditch. And what they'll do is they'll try and stitch right in the ditch. And what happens is when you come out of the ditch, it's super obvious. Whereas if you offset 1/4 inch, because if you look at this really close, I don't know if you can see it on there. This gap here is probably the same as that gap there. This probably widens out a little bit in there, just the way that's looking, because I don't think I did a really good job on that. Here's a really good example of it if you look closely. Can you come over on this one?
Yeah.
This looks pretty even right across the whole thing there. But if you look really, really close, you can see where this is probably 1/16 of an inch lower or wider here than over here, that white band. But because this never touches that black, it tricks your eye and you can't see that unless you're looking really close. So I'm not gonna lose any sleep over any of this, but these are just things that you could pick apart on a quilt. Like here's another good example of that idea, where you've got different thicknesses in that little gray strip that I tried to pick up with my 1/4 inch, but it doesn't jump out at you like the one down in the corner, because you've got a little bit of space the whole time. If like in the middle this black ran up into the red, then it would jump out a lot more that it's wrong because you've broken that line. But by having just a little bit of that gray line the whole way across, it doesn't matter that it's not uniform in its thickness because your eye isn't immediately drawn to it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting kind of visual tricks like what your eye does. So a lot of times when you get bogged down in like the minute details of a quilt, you can kind of ignore a lot of it because your eye wants to look for straight lines. So as long as you don't break that straight line up, and they don't have to be perfectly parallel, as long as they're not broken, your eye thinks they're straight and they look fine. And it's fabric, it's never going to be perfect. Anyway, questions? I could ramble on all day about all the problems in my quilt. But, you know, the trick is you have to just be happy with the quilt you made. And I love this quilt. That's why I put cuddle on it, because I'm taking it home. Sarah wasn't excited about it because we don't have a room that it matches. And I'm like, why does it have to match the room? I just want the quilt. I mean, I'm not pulling a quilt out of the way, like it's cold, like on a cold January night, Eddie. You're freezing and you want to watch your Netflix. Are you going to pull a quilt out and say, oops, this doesn't match the living room, I should put it back?
I don't know.
You might?
It might happen. That might be a concern.
Well, you know what would happen? You won't have the quilt because it doesn't match the living room, so it never came out of the closet. That's the problem.
Well,
Anyway.
if you put it on, if you fold it up so the cuddle's outside, you just make a yellow room.
A yellow room.
I don't know if that's that appealing, but
What's the science on yellow rooms?
I don't know.
Because
I can't imagine how.
is it yellow or red? If you paint a kitchen yellow or red, I can't remember which one it is, you'll fight more.
I feel like it's red.
Yeah, but I think yellow is one of those colors. Maybe yellow is the one that makes you not fight.
Yellow's like a hazardous color. Red's
Yeah, but they've done research on this, and
Yeah.
depending, like, and they found that they tried an experiment where they painted kitchens different colors, and then the people that lived in the house took surveys, and they found out. I think it's red. It might be yellow though. One of the colors that if you paint your kitchen that color, you will fight more.
Kaya has a yellow kitchen.
Do you fight a lot, Kaya? Are you and your man like going at like no, don't say going at that come out right fighting in the kitchen a lot?
I don't know. Maybe that's what a yellow kitchen does.
Maybe it does. I don't know. We want to keep the show PG, so we won't explore that any further. Or maybe it's green. Was it? Do you remember the Mulberry Street house? You were tiny. Did I think your mother painted green?
No, I do remember the bathroom.
The bathroom.
The Hulk green bathroom.
Yeah, that was a choice you guys made.
That was a good choice. Though.
That I can blame on 3-year-olds. It was the kitchen that an adult picked that color. I think it was green, but anyway. Maybe those people to fight. See, that's the other thing. I was reading this research about the color, like the different colored kitchens, because if I remember right, they would actually repaint the kitchens after they did their research to see how it changed. But then I'm wondering if it self-selects for people that are going to fight anyway. Like what kind of couple says, "Hey, let's take the survey about what we do in the kitchen," and they're like probably, I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Go look it up. What color, the room color. I know it's out there somewhere. It's really bizarre. And I would think with the internet, stuff like that's easier to find. See, that's the thing, Eddie. When I was I have a lot of useless information that I just picked up somewhere.
Yeah.
Like before Uncle John's bathroom reader and before the internet, where was I picking up all this useless information?
Maybe people are just telling you. In the newspaper.
Yeah, I don't. But that's what I'm wondering. Because nowadays it's not hard to do. You just
Did you
watch.
ever read the newspaper?
Yeah, I used to sometimes. But nowadays you just watch YouTube and you can learn useless information.
Yeah.
You used to have to work at it.
I feel like there's a lot more useless information on YouTube. So there's also useful useless information. There's like a subcategory of useless information.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Okay, so you pick up useless information, but it's not till I'm a 30-something-year-old adult when I learn that the triangle next to the gas gauge points to the direction on the side of the car that the fill-up is on.
You learned that at 30?
I was a fully fledged adult when I learned that. That never dawned on me before then. That the triangle points to, yeah, that's kind of sad. Anyway. Now we're just completely sidetracked. But I will get these hen scratches posted so you can all get an idea what we have to do for the measurements. But like I said, you could pretty much make this half yard of everything except the border print and the accents in the outer border. Anyway. Yes, Rhonda, it's sad. There's things in my life that okay. I'm going to tell one last story.
Did
Okay.
you get out of the car to check where the gas thing was?
You just knew which car when you were driving a car. You just always knew what side it was on. It just or you'd reach out and try and angle your mirror to see. Okay, here's a true story for you. Okay, I did not learn how to properly tie my shoes till I went to college.
What is?
I learned at college how to properly tie my shoes.
How were you improperly tying? Like, what does that entail?
Well, because I would say half the people that are tying their shoes don't realize this, but you're making a granny knot. And to properly tie your shoes, it should be a square knot.
Okay.
I had an angry old salty sea dog yell at me about this. And then when I learned it, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because as a kid, I always double knotted my shoes. If you're one of those people that have to double knot your shoes so they don't come untied, you're probably making a granny knot. But if you make a square knot, you shouldn't have to double knot it. It won't come untied.
What's a I don't know what either of those look like.
Oh.
I do like the thing, and then you.
Do you have give me like a cord? I'll show you. Do you have like a cord I can? Because I have to show you now that I've like brought this up.
Is that a cord?
What's that?
That's also a cord. Here.
No, yeah, that'll probably work. Okay. Okay, are you ready for this?
Yep.
So on a square knot, you have to imagine there's a giant loop here. The way a square knot works. Okay, did I do that right? No, that's a granny knot. Is it a granny knot? Yeah, it is a granny knot. Can you see why it's a granny knot?
No.
Because what it is, as a square knot, will come into it. Basically, the two loops wrap around each other. So, the way I always learned it was like this. I can't do it because of the way this is done. Okay, so it's going to come in. It comes in this side. It's going to wrap around the back and go out the same side it came in. Do you see how that's?
Yeah.
So you've got these two loops here, and as you tighten it, they tighten each other.
Yeah.
Well, so if you tie your shoes like that, they don't come untied.
So, like, if you...
Because the way a square knot works is it gets tighter, it doesn't loosen it. But they're easy, and the reason square knots are so good is so if I could tighten this as hard as, there's a limit, you can make it super tight, right?
Yeah.
But watch how easy it is to undo. You just take your two ends, and you push it, and it loosens right up. Okay? Now, and so that's why they're great for shoelaces. Tightens right up, holds good. Now on a granny knot, you're gonna be twisted. You're not gonna have this nice the opposite twist like that. One of them is gonna be like that. So you see how you don't have the twist up and down? And so if you do that on your shoes, they're constantly coming loose because you don't have it locked in properly. So you have to tie them in. So I didn't learn this till I went to college. So I can say with a straight face that I learned to tie my shoes in college. And like I said, that dude, the crusty old sea dog, man, he's the one, the boat's twain. Oh my gosh. Because the first day of class, he went around and looked at all our boots. And there's me and like 4 other kids that he was just like, he laid into us because you don't know how to tie your shoes. You don't know what you're doing here. Oh my gosh, dude, relax. But anyway, that's all I got. If I ramble, I'm sorry, I ramble an awful lot. But come check out the store for the Shop Hop. We got a lot of good sales going on. Maybe we'll try and do something online with the sales. Maybe we'll do like some sort of Shop Hop code. Should we do that? Like a Shop Hop code? Like you put in like a coupon code and win all sorts of stuff? I have to think about that because I know, we got to take care of Rhonda. She's not driving up from Texas to buy fabric, so we got to take care of her. But anyway, we'll get this typed up in a PDF format so you can look at it. And I keep telling, and at some point we're going to edit this, and we'll put some frogs music behind it and make it like a thing. Anyway, that's all I got. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was nice to see you all here. Sometimes I get word when I sign on, there's like only one person, but like 70 stuck around. Thank you. Thanks for watching. So on, and be excellent to each other.